Today we're going to look at installing the SW-R610 Sprinter Switches. Now, some guys say these are a luxury, but I've been without them and I have them, and I'm going to say I enjoy them. There's a sweet thing about sitting in the saddle, down in the drops, banging along there, and just a flick of your thumbs to go up, go down the gears as you need them. I've got to say, I enjoy them. So this video, guys, is going to look at popping them in. It's pretty straightforward. I'll give you some flags up that I met along the way, but hope you enjoy. Apart from tools to do your bar tape, pretty much the only tool you're going to need for this job is Shimano's own little TLEW02, a tool for putting in your cables and making sure they're snug and snapped in properly. You'll also see Shimano provide you a template for cutting your bar tape. That thing's next to useless in my view, and I'll discuss that just shortly. You get this user's manual. In my personal view, that's just a waste of time. It tells you next to nothing, and I suppose it's to keep them right rather than keep us right. So there it is. You can see what it shows you, where they go. They suggested where they go. Shimano tell you can fit them anywhere, but the cables on these switches is pretty short, so you're going to have some limitations in terms of cable length. There are workarounds to this, but we won't discuss that here. There's the switches themselves, really light, really nice bit of kit, to be honest. Much better than the R100s, which are much bulkier. The switch itself, you can see how short the cable is. That cable's flat compared to the round standard cables on the Di2 system. The end on this switch has a key on it that's unique to the Sprinter switch. The R100 has a plain circular end, but this one has that key there. Now it's short, and I'm sure there's a workaround to that, but that limits, of course, your placing of these things, but doesn't get in the way as far as I'm concerned. That shortness works perfectly, as we'll see in a tick. Now, job number one, after getting your head round the switch itself, is clean up your bar tape off, get everything ready to receive this switch. The Sprinter switch itself pops into the lower port, and it's keyed to suit the end of that cable that we saw earlier. The key is on the inside of that lower port, so you can't get it wrong really. Just make sure you're not pushing against that when the key's not lined up. Make sure the key's lined up, and then it'll just snap into place perfectly, nice and snug, watertight, and won't give you any trouble. Right guys, let's show you very simply how this plug comes out. It's pretty straightforward. Just get your little Shimano tool, ease that nice and gently out. You could use a small screwdriver to ease that connector block out, but just ease the SDI connector block out at your finger or something else, and then get the tool and slot it in, finger over the end, and just pop it out. You can see here just how flat that cable is compared to the standard Di2 connection cable. Now you can see the keyed side faces in towards the SDI. Just make sure it's sitting properly, then load up your tool and snap the thing into position, nice and snug and watertight, and it shouldn't give you any trouble whatsoever after that. Next, you want to try and get this switch positioned exactly right for you. So leave the adhesive strip cover on so that it doesn't interfere, and just find out roughly where you want to be. Now the next thing to do is just pop the switch onto your bar, and you can at this stage give it a click or two and just check things are going up and down the cassette as they should do. As long as your firmware is all up to date, then this thing should be just plug and play. You shouldn't have to configure anything in your system, because it should all be ready to go as a plug and play unit. Now the switch is connected, it's all working as it should do. Now we're going to get this thing into a position that's perfect for your hand, and at that point you will then mark it off, as we'll see in a tick. The excess cable will show you can be lost by wrapping around the bar. Now here we are. You can see I've got the switch exactly where my hand finds it most comfortable. I've then marked it off with a silver pen before I take off the adhesive strip cover and stick the thing firmly in place precisely where I want it to be. Take your time positioning that switch because you're not going to want to have to redo the job. Here we are then, taking this strip off so that the sticky adhesive is in place, wrapping round the bar the way we want to go and just snapping that switch straight onto the bar exactly in the position we marked. That way it's a beautiful job. No unevenness in the bar tape is going to be felt, and the switch is exactly where you want it to be. So nice tidy job, and that's the way you want it. Switch is in place. We just wrap the bar now and make a tiny little nick and ease the switch through the bar tape as you would wrap the bar normally. Now I didn't use the template, I found that unhelpful. And that's how you fit the Sprinter switch.